characterized, not to be defined, not to be analyzed, not to be qualified, not to be objectified, not to be mentioned, not to be classified, not to be numbered, not to be characterized, not to be defined, not to be analyzed, not to be qualified, not to be objectified. Depth can be a double-edged sword unless there's a flip side. Complications are relied upon when variations are identified. Amidst characteristics, they recognize distinctiveness. Endless logistics, watch the demise of instinctiveness. Impulse decisions and vision made on a whim, and then you make it a point to point the finger at them. Project, relying on a reputation that you protect. What's wrong with a strong signal and a powerful concept? Don't conform to descriptions or specify functions performed. Forewarned of your convictions, realize connections torn. Curiosity, it seems, remains to be seen, while the diverse rehearse the dream within the dream. Amazingly, repetitiously, viciously it occurs. Lazily, suspiciously, fictitiously a blur. Beliefs created synonymously with identity. Let it be window sharper, all relatively equals infinity. Evoke consideration, recognition, and commitment. Let it drip intent, inclined to be convinced of it. Pay attention to detail, or be susceptible and regretful if the name rings. Status means nothing, displays are non-essential. Not to be mentioned, not to be classified, not to be numbered, not to be characterized, not to be defined, not to be analyzed, not to be qualified, not to be objectified, not to be mentioned, not to be classified, not to be numbered, not to be characterized, not to be defined, not to be analyzed, not to be qualified, not to be objectified. As we get into it, our surroundings become intimate. Don't suppress, restrain, or control that which is intricate. Increased awareness when fairness fails to represent the recommended, reprimanded, replenished, repellent. Expectable evil, unethical and illegal. Stick around for the sequel, witness the upheaval. Trademarks distinctive, landmarks relinquished. Eating the same meal off of the chameleon's dish. Watch it vanish, go beyond definitions, purposes and roles. When I'm gone, will you still listen? Right now I'm working it from the soul, focused with a purpose while it's still hopeless to go beyond the surface. You've got to work at this. Awareness is worthless. You're not a select segment, and you're seeking for the ultimate. Elected amendments from inside out, they're leaking all of it. Superior capability, inferior humility, denotative connotation, and a subjective objectivity. Not to be mentioned, not to be classified, not to be numbered, not to be characterized, not to be defined, not to be analyzed, not to be qualified, not to be objectified. Complex phenomena is a personal perspective. Context cameras, picture where the arsenal's headed. Avidly sought after, messages to communicate. Happily ever after unless it accumulates. Dramatically influential, supposed connections with audience. I've survived and now I thrive off the audible silence. Predictable, stable, typical, able, efficient, different, the soup and ladles on the table. Repetitive routine, filling the tank with unleaded gasoline. Suffering justified as buffering, at least that's what it seems. Convinced of the craft of prophecy and the sting of innocence. Ever since the past, that cast away mercy for magnificence. Not to be mentioned, not to be classified, not to be numbered, not to be characterized, not to be defined, not to be analyzed, not to be qualified, not to be objectified. I'm not to be mentioned, he's not to be classified, we're not to be numbered, she's not to be characterized, they're not to be defined, it's not to be analyzed, not to be qualified, nor to be objectified.